What's up? How's it going? In this video, I'm talking about every step from 10 to 30 grand a month. All you got to do to go from that revenue range with your consulting, coaching, or service-based business online to the 100, 300, or even $500,000 a month range. Okay, I haven't gotten a client to $1 million a month yet. I have some clients who worked with me in the past and went on to do that, but it wasn't really, directly because of me. So can't quite drop that number yet, but I can say 500, even one of my best clients is $700,000 a month, okay? And so in this video, I'm just breaking down everything you got to do. And really, there's a few key components, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time diving into them, okay? And in this video, you're going to learn about leadership and structuring your teams and how you got to think about hiring, training, and ramping up team members within your organization. I'm going to talk about some of my mistakes, and I've made more mistakes than most people have had successes, honestly. And that's one thing that I learned back when I was in Taekwondo, when I was a teenager, is the black belts always said, we've just failed more than the white belts. That's why we're black belts, right? And that's my story and myself today. So I'm sharing everything that I have really experienced and how it held me back from getting there for so long and some of the pitfalls that you can avoid. I'm also going to show you the easiest funnels to get started with to get there, and I'm going to do this by sharing a recording from inside of our Kaizen Mastermind group. Now, obviously, this is a very soft, maybe not so soft plug for our Kaizen group, but even if you're not planning on joining that group or that mastermind anytime soon, which is completely fair, this is still going to be a super valuable video. Because by the end of it, if you do stick around, and this is one of those videos where probably one of the most valuable videos I've put on my channel in a very, very long time, because it's just a real deep dive into exactly what people are doing to go from 10 to 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month to that 6-figure month mark. Like literally within a minute or two of the video, you're going to hear from two of the clients who have joined in the past 2 or 3 months that have both done exactly that. One went from about 20 grand and he's just now wrapping up January at 80 grand. And then the other one was stuck at $20,000 a month for so long. And now he's finally breaking through that ceiling, and he just had a $50,000 cash collected week and is going on to do 6-figure months. And this isn't just me flexing their results. I'm actually taking the time to dive into exactly what they've done and exactly what they got to do next to keep growing. And this isn't just theory, right? This is actually from clients. This isn't just theory, okay? This isn't just me talking out my butt, right? This is like, I've helped people do this over and over again. People like Gherkin Orderi, who now does $700,000 a month. One of my old students, Anton, who reached back out after 2 years. He says, now my norm is $400,000 a month, right? People like Connor Rickey, who I hope to have his first 6-figure month. People like Justin Saunders, who I helped him crack his first 6-figure month. People like Bastian Slot, who worked with me and he went on to build a $500,000 a month business and even eventually did $1 million a month. Okay, so I've got the experience, got the testimonials, got the case studies, and I just want to add a bunch of value to my audience. So stick around for this video. This whole thing's going to be super, super, super valuable. And obviously, if you watch this whole thing, you're a lot more likely to join the Kaizen Mastermind group, but I will say that that is not for most of my viewers, okay? It is for people with established offers that get great results and are serious about scaling. And when I say serious, I'm not just saying that as like a marketing thing. I mean, like, you're ready to do whatever it takes. It doesn't matter. Hell or high water, you're getting this thing to multiple seven figures this year, okay? So anyway, enjoy this clip, enjoy this group call. We go really, really deep into leadership, team structure, advertising, best funnels to get to 6-figure months, and you're gonna be able to see inside the businesses of people that are actually making these leaps right now. Enjoy.
Awesome.
How you feeling?
Pretty good. It's a pretty good month in business this month. Really picked up in the last 2.5 weeks, I'd say. Really picked up. But yeah.
Very good, man. Very, very good. What are you closing the month out at, do you think?
I think we could potentially hit 80. So I'm at 65 right now, and there's a week left. But it's not from ads though. That's the thing, right? I'm posting it. It's all from YouTube. So like I think I've had a couple of videos that I posted around Christmas time start like really picking up, bringing in a lot of like interest, and it's like some of the easiest closes on top of it all, right?
Yeah, dude, that's phenomenal, man. I'm really glad that that's working out. Like what I was saying when you first joined, I was just saying, dude, like, really just system with YouTube, man. Like,
Yeah.
I know ads are sexy, but dude, like, you're coming up on a 7-figure run rate month with just YouTube. I'm like, bro, just get a system in place there where you're getting more energy out of it than you're putting into it as the founder,
Hmm.
and then let's crack ads, you know. So, and we're close. Like we've gotten a lot with ads, but no, huge congrats, man.
Thank you, man.
That's phenomenal. I'm really happy to hear that, dude. How's everybody else doing? Reese, Alex, Ahmed, Alan, good to see you guys.
Hey,
Just
good to see you
done.
guys.
Great. All
Good.
good, all good. Yep.
Alex, dude, coming off of crazy run. Why don't you tell people what's going on here for you, man?
Yeah, well, yeah, had a 12K day, a 20K day. Um, in a 7 day period, I did I think around like 35,000, which and for the month so far, at around 50,000. So if
Heck
I
yeah.
keep up this pace, yeah, it's a 100K run rate.
There you
Um,
go, man.
so we'll see how it goes.
Very cool, dude. I hope you don't mind me telling my email list you're already at 100K a month. I'm kidding.
Yeah, last month, or sorry, last year, I averaged 20K a month. Lowest month was like 2K actually. It was like probably towards the beginning of the year, and the highest month was 38.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, this month, new record week, record day, record month already.
Killer, man. And that's just DM ads to VSL, right?
Yep,
That's
exactly.
kills it, dude. Such a great model. Who else? Anybody have any other updates? Any wins?
Yeah, I just got off a call with so pretty much secured a closer now, Trey. Um,
Great.
and it's a guy from the community who's experienced in sales. Uh, he's a he's a bit of a character, got a lot of good energy, no sales, so I'm pretty feeling good about it. On the on the flip side, I've actually had another zero close week, and I just things have been a little bit all over the place. But like you said, I'm not too bothered about it because it's a bit of a transitional phase while I've been
Yeah.
working on this. And
We've had a cruddy week for KCCA too, and I'm just working on instead of in, just changing stuff up, like, so that's a part of the process, man. Yeah.
mm,
You
yeah,
know, like,
exactly. Yeah, I'm not too bothered about it because I know the numbers the business does, and it's
yep.
still getting still getting calls booked. I think maybe
Yeah,
that I need to look at the appointment setter rather. He's doing a good job. Maybe he's after an off week, but yeah, and I'm just really putting my effort into getting the closer involved in a couple of other things. But
cool.
yeah, that's the needles moved forward definitely because I've just before this call I went through the script with him on a call. I'm gonna send him some
Nice,
examples over the weekend, and
nice.
then we're gonna do a role play call on Monday, and then yeah, just gonna figure out logistics then, and then off we go. So I'm a bit
Yeah,
nervous about handing that over because obviously it's been nearly 2 years now with just me, but at the same time that's something I gotta get over.
yeah.
So yeah, man, yeah, really positive, bro. I'm feeling good.
It's really good, man. A great book to read as you're moving into like leadership with your own team is The Motive by Patrick Lencioni. Have you read that book?
No, what's it called? The Motive by
The
who?
Motive. I have it actually right here.
I got it here.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah. So, yeah, good book. This book, The
Yeah.
Motive by Patrick Lencioni. And then there's
Okay.
another book which I have it linked out to. Actually, no, I have it back. About to say I lent it to my brother, but this is another good one. It's Wooden on Leadership by John Wooden.
Okay.
Two of my favorites on like just like how to effectively lead teams and stuff. And I could
Nice.
dig into why, but if you read them, you'll understand.
Yeah, I'll have a look at those. Definitely. Thank you, Trey.
Yep, for sure. So there's just a lot of mental hurdles going from one man show to team, and especially like an effective team. My first hires, I don't have any of them still. All these entrepreneurs are like, oh, I stuck with my first ones. Like, bro, I was a terrible leader at the time and I had a terrible business. I don't have any of my first hires. None of them have stuck around because at the time I was a terrible leader, dude. Terrible. So, well, cool guys. So any other wins or updates? And then otherwise we can what I'll do is I'll just collect topics and we're just gonna do whatever you guys want to do today.
Trey, I just wanted to say that your idea of double booking was great. Like this last like week, I've had like back to back sales
Mm,
calls, and
very good.
I mean there's no there's no time slot that was free, like
Good.
so it's pretty good, and actually it improved the sales a little bit because I'm more relaxed in the sales. I know there's like a flood of people, so
Yeah,
I'm more
very
relaxed
nice.
about it. So
Very, very nice. Yeah, we started double booking for KCCA and that went really, really well. So Yeah, because yeah, if you have a 50% show up rate, just double book your slots.
Yeah.
And move
You know, like
around. You have to do a little bit of maneuvering. Sometimes both show up at the same time, and you just tell the worst form, "Hey, could we reschedule or whatever?" But then you're always
yeah,
on.
that's exactly. You know, I got your idea. The setter does that. He
Yeah.
rescheduled them. Like my show rate right now is 60-70% roughly, and you know, they always book like the best qualified, and they put one less qualified with them because we're doing everything manually right now on
Okay.
Calendly.
Cool.
So it always works. You know, the setter babysit them if there's any. They qualify them a bit on the Zoom call for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. Cool, man. I love that. Glad to hear that. Well, cool, guys. Why don't we collect topics and things you guys want to talk about? Um, and then we'll just kind of hit them one at a time for 2 hours.
Hey Trey, I'm curious for the double booking. If two people show up, you mentioned that your setter meets with them for a few minutes, right? Is there do they ask the same questions like they did in the DM or?
Yeah. I mean, so yes, basically what they would do is so on KCC we have phone setters who do DM setting as well. So like they're really talented. They can do both. And if you could train them into that, then yes, because then they
Okay.
would just call them and be like, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I'm on another appointment, but I do have some time. You cool if I ask you some questions?" And then you just go through a qualifying process
Mm,
and just make sure that they're worth your time,
okay.
and then they rebook them. Yeah, and like the people who aren't worth your time, are like, "Oh, I'm just looking around, and I've got $100," and like, all right, man. And then you can have them do a downsell. Like I think our setter team lead is training my setter team on like doing a downsell for people who have intent but no money. And that kind of eats back some of our costs. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I discovered with the downsell, lots of them later go to the high ticket
mm,
because
some of them will, but a lot of
some
them
of them, yeah.
some of them will, but a lot of the reason why they take the downsell, like not to generalize, but people usually are in bad financial positions because they just habitually make bad decisions. So
Mm,
it's not like that's really going to change anytime soon. So you give them a 197 or a 297, And the only reason I do that, and it's the same product. It's everything that they would get, but just without the group calls, without the coaching, without the community. It's just the course.
yeah.
And it just liquidates ad spend, basically. That's at least the idea behind it. We're not doing it the most effective right now, honestly. And it's kind of distracting for the team. But
Mm.
once they're fully trained, then it should liquidate a lot of our costs. At least half of our costs. So yeah. Well, what topics do you guys want to hit, man? We got 2 hours. Like, just think about your position, and I mean, obviously, I can speak to it, but other members of the group can also speak to it. What do you
Yeah,
guys want to
so
talk
some topics I'd like to hit are when to hire, and like the plan moving forward. Should I just keep on doing what I'm doing for the next 30 days and then think about hiring? And like, what do you think the first hire should be? Curious about that. And then
Okay.
also, should I scale ad spend right now? Should I just up it more? Because I do want to hit that 100K month. Um, and also just a heads up, I got I unfortunately tried to pick a different time, but I got a dentist appointment in like 45 minutes. Got to start driving at 15. So just so you know. But yeah, that's all for me.
Your teeth can wait, dude. I'm kidding.
What was that?
I said your teeth can wait, and then I said,
Yeah, no, yeah.
cool. No, well, I'll answer your stuff first, then and maybe other people can speak to it just so that we can get to it. So when to hire, and then like, should you scale spend, basically.
Sorry, yeah, exactly.
Cool. Anybody else?
Hey Trey,
What's up,
um, I was wondering if we could go over kind of what's working for ads in 2025. Like the landscape shifted a little bit, and we had some really big months, and then it kind of just tapered down. Specifically, this month would be like one of our slowest. So I was wondering if you had any tips for static ads and kind of video ad scripts. I heard that the shorter the video ads are, the better because no one watches a video ad past 20 seconds anyway.
Sure. I can show you some ad copies that are working right now. Yeah, I haven't. It's good to see you back on here, dude. I haven't seen you in been probably 4 or 5 months, 6 months. So it's good to see you on here, dude. But yeah, we can
You
go.
too.
We can go. What ads work, and is there anything else that would be helpful for you?
Maybe like touch a little bit on organic, or if anyone else has experience with organic here, like I'll post any organic or like 100% ads.
Yeah.
And it's been working pretty
Jimmy
solid up
on
until
the
this
call
point.
here is gonna have probably he's done 50 this month with his YouTube channel, and it might be even 80 by the end of the month. So he
That's
could
awesome.
more of that than I could, because even my YouTube, I mean, it used to be like the main thing. Now it's kind of just like passive. I don't think too much about it. So yeah, maybe we can have him speak to that a little bit on the call if we have the time. Cool. So for you, it's what ads work and a little bit about
In this
organic.
video, I'm going to.
That's Jimmy.
Yep.
So cool. All right. Who else? What topics would you like to get into?
I think I'd like to discuss just leadership in general. Like I've just reading the description of the book you just recommended, The Motive, and I'll definitely read it. But I think just touching upon a couple of those today would be a couple of points about leadership and why we do it would be handy for me.
Cool. It's a good topic. Let's take like 2 or 3 more. Let's make it a good 2 hours.
Trey, my questions are more like logistical things, like how to set up, I guess the ad, like the reel that you would boost to get people to DM you. I know that yours is like you in your car. I don't know if you recommend just like sitting in your house or something random, or if that's just like something that you do that you can do that you don't necessarily recommend. And then the other thing is just I really want to figure out what to name my mechanism today, just so I can sort of like make the ad today, because I've really been dragging my feet on that. And
Yeah.
I was telling you, I'm kind of in like the content rat race right now, where I'm just putting organic out.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I love rhythm hacking, rhythm designing, rhythm rewiring. Rhythm is so great for your business.
Rhythm hacking, or like rhythm stacking, rhythm snowball.
Biological rhythm rewiring. I mean, that sounds super technical, but like, something like that. Something that is like, oh, this is like something doctors would call it. So for context for us on the call, Garrett, he has a fitness coaching program, and his mechanism is the Playboy playbook, and it's worked, and he's done well. I think he did like 30 in December or something like that. I can't remember. It's doing well. But, as you guys know, in order to really move in the cold markets, you got to have a mechanism that's like not my method is called blank. It's like an actual thing. And that way you can transfer belief. People believe the mechanism. So yeah, I like biological or like habit rhythm, something like that. You know what I mean? The best thing to do, I would say, is just come up with some words that feel like aligned, and then just like think of the clients that have done well, and then maybe even just run the name by them, and then also just think of your best coaching calls, your best clients, how they've done, and a lot of the times the ideas just kind of naturally come from there, you know. And then juxtapose the names with like reality. Like, does this feel real? You know. So, but it's easy to overthink too.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something today, and I can change it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, dude. And this is not meant to like dog you. Almost anything's better than Playboy Playbook. It's not real, So rhythm design or something like that is all immediately better. So it doesn't have to be perfect,
What do you think about the word like synchronizing or like syncing?
Rhythm syncing. That's pretty good.
Let's just do that. Rhythm syncing.
All of that, dude.
That or rhythm hacking.
Because like what you call it isn't as important as how you explain it, honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like in the VSL. Have you guys all watched the group calls or been on the group calls where we're designing VSLs and stuff? So a lot of you guys are there. Okay, just like watch those calls. You'll get a lot of the basics of how to explain it. Call it something that feels real, and then focus a lot of your mental energy on how you explain it and how you justify it. Because calling it my 7-step method blank, like that's like that doesn't transcend context. People have to trust you to trust your method. If you're asking strangers to trust you, you're going to lose at scale, right? They just have to like one of our best students in CB, or at least most quickly succeeding. She'd already nailed. Her name was Kate, and she'd like 40 grand her first month. Came in doing like 3 grand, launched like 40, and it was because she was in a super legitimate niche, and it was like nervous system rewiring. Like that's a real thing, you know, helping people cure anxiety with nervous system rewiring, right? So it's like real. You know what I mean? Everybody knows what nervous system is. Everybody kind of generally understands that it's a responsive mechanism and you can rewire it. You know what I mean? So rhythm rewiring, habit design, whatever. Call it something, but the explanation is more important than the name. As long as the name doesn't feel made up.
Got it.
Yep.
Cool.
So if you want a good example, Reese, you should totally link your ad.
I do have it from last time.
You do? Nice. I just love how Reese did it. His ad is literally like adding value from the perspective of the mechanism. Right, Reese? It's like, this is a better method. Here's how it works, adding value, teaching. And then people just follow him from the value of the ad. And then he reaches out to followers and sends them his VSL. It's like 26 minutes of cash.
Yeah, it works really well. I think one of the biggest parts about that as well, you did mention there, Trey, is the hook as well. I really thought about the hook, and I explained this on the last call. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I really thought about my typical pain point, my target audience, which is videographers need help with the business side, and one of the pain points is videographers mainly make videos that are just expenses for companies, and they're not actually assets when they can be, when they've got a function and help in the business with their marketing. So the hook is companies don't care about videographers. Companies care about problem solvers. Then how can you be a problem solving videographer? Then loads of information. And I actually helped. Who did I help? Trevor. He dropped me a message, and we had a little look at his messaging in his ad, and we came up with a similar sort of formula for him. And he came up with. So we looked at some of his pain points and come up with some ideas for a hook. He came up with Christian coaches not using ethical persuasion to close sales is costing you thousands of dollars. Prospects are more skeptical than ever, craving genuine leaders to buy from. How can you implement some easy changes to build that trust from the word go? And his offer is sales with Christian guys. And then I said, then from there, just offer some really free high level value, but just scratch the surface, leave them wanting more. And then at the end, the whole bit about follow me for more or call to action or whatever. So
yeah,
that framework works well for me, and hopefully it will for him as well.
That's really good.
Solid.
You should totally drop the link to your ad still, even though Garrett has it. It should be good for the whole community. Well, I'm gonna start. And does anybody else have any topics they want to hit? Otherwise, we're gonna start with Alex, when to hire and scale and spend.
Yeah, just one more thing. We could possibly go over lead magnet to appointment setter. If you could
Sure, we can
possibly give me some advice on that.
Yeah, I can take a look at that. All right, dude. So let's start with Alex. We'll start with when to hire and like scaling spend. So, mind explaining your current thought process on those things and kind
Yeah,
of where
so
you're at in your head?
when it comes to hiring, actually a better way to phrase the question is basically, what should I be focusing on right now? And what's like the next, and how long will I be doing that? And then what's the next step? And I was assuming the next step is hiring. That's why I said that. But really, it comes down to that.
Yeah.
I
So
think that we could start there,
yeah. So when to hire? I mean, hire when it hurts is a classic phrase. I'm actually probably the worst proponent of the opposite. And every time I do it, for some reason, I cannot freaking learn my lesson. I hire way early. And that's a part of why KCCA actually is kind of a bit of a stalled month is I was like, ooh, we're ready to go. And I brought in a setting team and there just wasn't quite enough to go around. So then my energy went from making sure everything's growing to keeping a setting team excited. You know what I mean? Which is no good. And if I had done that, like I keep relearning this lesson. So I'm like actively relearning this lesson and passing it to you. So hire when it hurts means hire a closer when there's more calls to go around than you can handle. Hire another setter when there's more sets to go around than one setter can handle. Hire a coach when there's more coaching necessary than you can handle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you hire any sooner, you're taking a slight risk, and that risk exists less when you're doing ads because you can just ramp up volume, but it does still exist in that, like, maybe when you ramp the ads, your performance doesn't ramp with the spend, which that can happen. And so then you end up with not enough flow to feed your team.
Yeah.
When to hire, it's when you're capped out as the owner, honestly. I mean, that's like the best answer. But if you don't want to like go in there and do a bunch of work yourself, which is fair, you can take a slight risk and prove it for like even just like a week or two and then start interviews. But what you don't want to do is immediately throw off the rule. It's more like I heard Cole Gordon say this, and I like this. He said it's more like a dial than a light switch, right?
Mm.
So you dial them into the role. It's not on or off. It's they do well. You give them 20% of the opportunity. They do pretty well with it. You give them 40%. They do well with that. You give them 60. You give them 80. You give them 100. So they earn their way into ownership, right?
Got it.
So does that make sense? So hire when it hurts and dial them in. Don't just go at it and then totally step away.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, cool. So I won't rush into it. I'll keep, I'm kind of almost maxed out, but I mean, I can keep doing, I think I should maybe save a little more cash and
Yeah.
then really do it when it really hurts. And because eventually I want to hire, so I'll just kind of wait
Yes.
a little longer if I can.
Well, and I know that you have Seth, who for reference for everybody, he's like his business partner slash closer slash setter.
Yep. Best friend
Like,
from high school is just, yeah, he's working with me as a sales rep.
yep. So I know he's doing the setting in the DM right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the setting in the DM is way easier to train than the closing. And if he has closing experience in the past, just have Seth make a Miro board. I'll show you this real quick. This is helpful. This is very specific to your situation. So I just went ahead and paid our setter, our DM setter in KCCA. Like, dude, can you just build a Miro board of like your process? Because I just got a good guy. I did a couple interviews, found a guy who's just a total stud, young guy, super hungry, really wants it. And I just said, hey, could you build a Miro board? So I'll link it to you guys, and you sort of use it as a reference. But ideally, what you do, dude, is you just build like a process, and then Seth just trains off the process, and then you put another setter in there because I think he has experience with closing. I'll link that to you guys here. And I'd rather you have to train a setter than a closer because training a closer you lose. Whereas training a setter you don't lose as much. So there you go, guys.
Trey, I actually had a question about hiring. So, for example, right? Let's say, so like right now, I'm kind of like, I'm taking my own sales calls and I'm getting a lot of them. And like, I feel a little bit overwhelmed. So now would be a good time to have a closer. But what about in times where I guess demand kind of ramps down and there actually isn't kind of enough for a full-time closer? Because even the last year when I did have a closer, when I first hired him, like it was getting like five to six calls a day. And then in the middle, it kind of dipped and it raised back again. And there were months where he was kind of like it's hard to survive off of like.
And he's like, if you let yourself get too big to do the little things, you end up too little to keep the big things, right? And what that means as a business owner is it's like once you have a closer, that doesn't mean you're done doing sales. That just means you have a closer, right? You have to maintain the posture. At any time, I'm going to get in there and crush it. And that keeps the power dynamic where it needs to be. Not that all relationships are power dynamic, but especially some work relationships, there is a power dynamic, and you have to accept that. And if your closer gets the sense that you're not willing to, just not even that they have bad intentions, just humans naturally adapt to the environment they're in, they will abuse that. You know what I mean? So rule one is just be willing to do everything in the business. You know what I mean? Especially client-facing things. You don't have to be willing to do your own taxes. Get a freaking accountant. But client-facing things, you need to be willing to do. You know what I mean? and maybe there's a case where they don't do taxes, but you get the idea. So that's the first thing, is always be willing to do it. If you end up too small to do, or too big to do the little things, you end up too little to keep the big things. And if you track my journey over the past 6 years, honestly, the seasons where I kind of like lost it, it was like the scripture verse, like pride comes before the fall kind of thing. Like I just kind of started to think that I didn't have to do these things anymore. And that's just never true. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is dude, honestly, what I would do is I would do one of two things, and you should make this decision relatively quickly here. I would either start to innovate and find ways to use paid media, like ads to your YouTube or something like that, or display ads, the suggestion video on the sidebar with YouTube. Find a way to use paid media to drive a consistent floor. And this is very similar to Garrett's situation right now of like great organic, but there's that back of your head sense of like, when is the algorithm going to shift, or is my content going to stay good? And there's no system there. So what you got to do, and this is what this mastermind is for, is innovate a way to use paid media to just create at least a floor to that organic platform, right? And that way your closer is never going to go underneath at least a certain number. If the organic pops, great. But the paid acts as like a hard cement floor that you're really kind of not going to go under. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I would say you're totally ready to bring in a closer at that point. Because then you're not trying to, for lack of a better analogy, like turn the crank and get somebody motivated again when they've taken 3 calls that week. You know what I mean? You're not going to have that problem as much. So that's what I would be thinking about. Because you've just done 50 grand this month. I really think you could do like 80 grand, like just yourself, just cranking YouTube. I think a little bit of a system for your organic, a little bit of paid media to your YouTube, put in a closer, that will solidify a 7-figure run rate. And then what you can start to do is we can start to get creative again with like pure ads, like ads to VSL, ads to DMS, stuff like that. And that's what's going to get you, because I know your goal is like 2, 3, 500 grand a month. Like that's the stuff that's going to really just like really get you there, that stuff. So that's what I would do in your situation. And yeah, do you have any questions about that? Does anybody have
that makes sense. Yeah.
That makes sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you got to think like part of your job when you have closers is building a business that they stay motivated to work under. Does that make sense? So it's like if you don't have a business that consistently has great opportunity and consistently creates commissions for them, it's like as fickle as your client's trust can be with you, sometimes closers' trust can be even worse because they didn't pay to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just here for free, So you really got to build a good business to work under. And that's where I kind of dropped the ball, honestly, with KCCA. And my excuse is I have this other business that I run. But in January, what I should have done is I should have been in there closing myself. And I wasn't. And because of that, some little things slipped. And we were literally pacing. Our first week, we did like 20 Gs. And then it just started dropping off so quick because my closer got a little demotivated because he had to work through a lot of broke people to get the good ones. And then he just kind of lost it by week 3 and 4. You know what I mean? But if I were in there, I would have noticed the pattern way sooner, made an adjustment to our ads, made an adjustment with my setter team, done all that, and we would have had a great month. So I'm even learning that right now, which is kind of why I'm beating a dead horse on it. So yeah, does that make sense, dude?
It does, yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. You guys have anything else on hiring? We can hang out there. Also, Alex, we could talk about scaling your spend too, because that was your next topic, and this is your topic.
Yeah, whenever you want. I just posted some context on
Yeah.
to get in a row in a second, but yeah, I put those details there, so that way you have the visuals.
Yeah. I'm gonna read your chat that you just put in Zoom for the sake of the recording. So you said, so here's how my DMs are going since January 10th. So 14 days to 2 weeks, you've spent $3,445, so $3,445. Cash collected $39,800. Cash return 11.x since January 10th. 50 conversations per day. Cool. I mean, it looks great. So it's good data. I mean, I'm just looking at your calendar, and maybe I'll just share this file for the recording as well, just real quick. So I'm looking at your calendar, and I mean, I do see like at least a little bit of room. Like there's some openings here. I mean, it's Sunday, but looking at Monday, some spots, some cancels. You could like, I would maybe increase spend like 1.5x, and then what I would do is it's tough because it depends on how much your setters. And I'm noticing, like, I don't know how you feel about the latter half of Saturday there. But some cancels. What I would do is I would maybe do a little bit of what Ahmed's doing, which is like some double booking. So what I would do is anybody who doesn't have the finances, you double book them, and then you have Seth triage them. Okay. So he'd call, run a mini 10-minute meeting, and just confirm that they have like money and stuff and intent and whatever. You know what I mean? And so then you're just speaking to financially qualified all day. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's what I would do. And then so I would raise the spend a little bit. It's very healthy to see your calendar. So thanks for that. That's what I would do.
Okay, so 350 to 450 if they're unqualified. 350, 350 ad spend a day. Sorry, 300 per day to 450. And then if they're unqualified, mark them as free so someone else can book them. And then on top of that, Seth qualify
Mark them
them.
as free on the calendar, and then have Seth do a little bit of a triage process. And don't overthink the triage process. You usually kind of just know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like don't think too deep about a specific script. I mean, you can do that once you've got a big team and stuff, but right now it's just call them and just do a sniff check. Are they worth the time?
And then for the ads, costs are going up a little bit, not too much. It started out at like 250 per convo, and now it's about $5 per convo. The frequency metric for this month is over 2. You think I should keep expanding audiences to keep it like below 2?
I wouldn't expand audiences. I would introduce new creatives.
Okay.
Yep. So I'd introduce new ad creatives to make sure that your frequency doesn't shoot up. But honestly, dude, I've had ads that have like a 10 frequency that are still pumping. Like the frequency is not that huge a deal because sometimes like 2 frequency, my old philosophy used to be, oh, if they've seen it once and they didn't respond, they're not going to respond. That's not necessarily true. Sometimes people just don't want to respond right then. So if your frequency is at like 8 or 10, but you're still getting a $4, $5, $6 inbound, like that's still a good ad.
Over what time period when you say 8 or 10 frequency?
I mean, like
A month?
6
Or-
months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah, like a long time.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
'Cause not everybody's like going to click it right then and there, you know?
Yeah.
That's fine. So and honestly, dude, I'm not looking so much at cost per conversation. What I would look at is cost per qualified meeting. Qualified being basically they just have the funds. So I assume on your form you're asking funds, you know?
Yeah.
I'm looking at cost per qualified meeting more than anything, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So
All right.
I assume that's like $80 for you right now, $100.
So basically, keep on doing what I'm doing with the increase in ad spend. I keep taking all the sales calls, all the coaching calls, maybe do that for like another 30 days, stack some cash, and then slowly dial someone into setting and then sales. You kind of think moving forward?
Yes, and also because we've been slacking on it back and forth, really try and get some sales through the door without promising unlimited one-on-one time. That's really very important right now. It's going to become a huge problem like 3 months from now if you don't do that. And if you're trying to get like to a couple $100,000 a month, you know, like it's really going to cap you. So if you need help with that, like let me know. Just like
Why
the
not?
conviction, how you're going to deliver the outcome without your time and stuff.
What about offering unlimited one-on-one just to get that first 100K month? Or would you still say just now?
Oh, you do just to have a first 100K, sure, man. But you know, like I want you to have that satisfaction first 100K. Like, do it. Let's just do this. Once you have your first 6-figure month, we're gonna stop doing it.
Yeah,
If
sounds
you
like
go
a
back
plan.
down to 60, we know why you went back down to 60. It's because we're figuring out a new pitch. You know what I mean? So have your first 6-figure month, dude. You know, ball out with Seth, whatever you want to do, and then yeah, we got to figure out how to sell this without, hey, I'll help you as much as you need, guaranteed. You know, whatever. You know, so.
Sweet. All right. Thank you for the next steps and insights. It's super helpful.
Cool.
That's all for me for now.
Nice. Alan, to go into what ads work in organic. So what I think you should do, dude, to get those answers, honestly, because I can go into some of that here. If everybody would just post their ad Like Reese, you want to post your ad, Alex, if you want to post your ad, Amin, if you want to post your ad, just put it in the Kaizen group chat there for Alan to take a look at. That'd be super helpful. Because we can go into like the philosophy of why and get behind it and everything, but basically people just want something that feels real and valuable. And then organic, if Jimmy, you have the time, drop like a little loom in the group chat on that. Because honestly, like both of these things, like I feel like we could help Alan with. And then lead magnet to setter, that's your other topic, Alan. Can't really speak to it super tough because I just don't I don't do it, you know. But I imagine it's very similar to our ads to VSL because like the VSL is like a training video and it's kind of like a lead magnet. And all we do is just have the phone setters call them, understand their situation, and then book them in with our team if they're a good fit. And I can send you some scripts and stuff, and I imagine you can use that on a lead magnet.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I
What do you
want to
think
give you the
about
ability to study that on your own time because these are three big topics in of themselves.
right? What do you think about coaches diluting their offer by creating some kind of tiny little school community for $97 a month and then still having a high ticket?
Yeah, I just think there's so many trends, and if you can't reason from first principles, you're gonna get caught in trends and make stupid decisions. So it's like if you can't boil things down to the first principles and understand the root behind why what works, then you're not gonna think for yourself, and you're just gonna see somebody making money and just try and do what they do. So I just think like the coaching industry is like a very like just they just want to make a lot of money. And that's like every business, sure. But imagine running a coffee shop and every other coffee shop was posting screenshots of their P&L every week. It's like it'd probably be hard to run your coffee shop that well because you're just comparing all the time. But if you want to grow any business, what you do is you just run a very reasonable scientific process through your current strategy, consider it with your own brain, get perspective from others who are a few steps ahead of you. Don't mirror the strategy, understand why the strategy works, and then adapt your own solutions. And that's what I really think that the coaching industry is kind of missing. And I honestly think that's why people keep gravitating back to my programs, is because it's not like, hey, this is the thing necessarily. We've done that just because people don't understand. I can't run an ad that says, hey, critical think, like that's not really going to stick. But that is really what gets people to higher levels is the ability to just like relax, not force growth, and just consider reasonable solutions for your situation. And look, I mean, I think school groups work. I think webinars work, VSLs work, DM ads work. Everything works in context with your particular business and your particular goals. But you just have to slow down and like, this is me talking to you, kind of talking to the whole industry. You gotta slow down and just like think do you guys know what first principles are? Like you guys have heard the concept of first principles thinking? Are you familiar with the concept and what that really means? So this is really cool. This is really helpful. So first principles thinking basically so it's what Elon Musk used to create reusable rockets, right? Like as a first principle, because everybody told him he was crazy, but as a first principle, if something is doable within the laws of physics, it's doable, right? Like everybody can agree with that. So that's the basis for the thought process. The next was first principles of breaking down how rockets work. I wouldn't know what to say there. Like I guess gas usage and the mechanisms that run it. Breaking things down into their core basics. So like with a coaching business, it's like your offer market fit, your traffic channel, right? Whether it's paid or organic, being a subset of that traffic channel. And then your sales calls and how you run them, and then how you deliver your program. Like those are like the fundamental first principles of every business, right? And so what all you're doing is playing with these different variables, traffic channel, offer market fit, all these different variables until you kind of find something that clicks for your situation. And I just think people aren't willing to go through a process of not making a lot of money for a minute to find something that works that then scales. So they just want to jump ship from what they're currently doing right over to something somebody else is doing because it looks good for them. But what they're missing is the scientific process that that particular person went through for their particular offer market fit, the way they do their sales calls, the way they deliver, etc., that then made that strategy work for their particular instance. So basically what I'm saying is like work backwards from how your business works and what would work for it. And once you learn how to just like reason for yourself, you can basically do whatever you want. But the problem is people just jump ship from strategy to strategy because, you know, theirs isn't working. And usually theirs isn't working because they're not aware of the first principle basics at play and then making it work for their specific situation. Like all the best business owners in my group or in any group like ours, they are original thinkers who are willing to fail as they discover solutions for their particular business. Like, and that's true across all industries and all businesses of all time. But for some reason, in our particular industry, the coaching industry, we've just like thrown that idea out the window. Like it must just be your ad. But it's like so much more than that. Does that make sense? That's kind of what, when everybody asks like about specific strategies, I'm just like, I've tried freaking everything. I've done long form webinars, short form, VSL, DM ads, YouTube organic. I've done referrals, I've done affiliates, I've done school group, I've done everything. And honestly, it all works. You just have to like take the time to make it work for your particular situation, know your numbers, and get good input from people who know their stuff and be willing to fail for a little while. And the real trick is like learning the actual lesson that that failure had and learning the actual lesson that that success had. So if you learn the wrong lesson from your data, that's where you're at risk. So that's where having people who are ahead of you or just other perspectives, it's like, okay, I had a really bad month this month. Why is that? If the lesson is I suck, that's not a good lesson. That caps you. If the lesson is, well, I was talking more about this in my content than I normally do, that seems to push people away. Let me stop talking about that. So you have to be able to learn the right lessons from your successes and failures. And then that's where your like thinking process comes from. And that's how you arrive at potent solutions for your particular situation. Is the stacked lessons of many months and years of trying things and documenting it and counting no failure as success as necessarily failure as success, just like what worked, what didn't, what should I try next? You know what I mean? So, and even the guys who did school groups, like, you know, a lot of them, the reason why it works for them is because they make it work for their particular situation because they understand their particular situation. So, not to go off on too much of a mindset rant, but I hope that that's helpful.
I gotcha. Yeah, I just meant like, what do you see working right now the best?
I just think in general, people who really genuinely care and love the prospects that they're working with, across the board, people can sense that you're excited about this. Like just today, I had 2 sales calls and they both came in super skeptical, and by the end of it, they bought. And it's because I love the mission of KCCA. And I think my strategy works backwards from my desire to help other Christian men make money online because I'm very passionate about that. I like that. And so, you know, we do ads to a VSL, but because there's like a real mission behind it, like prospects can feel it at every step. So I just think that the thing that works is like really just genuinely believing what you have and then using paid ads to make sure that you don't have nothing going on that month somehow. I know that that's super vague, but that's honestly the best answer I can give to that. And I also think too that you have to be better recently at explaining how your strategy actually works and making a good case for it. Because that cuts through a lot of like the trust barriers that currently exist. You know, like That's why we spend a lot of time here on like mechanisms and stuff. It's because it's like if you have a good mechanism, you can explain it well, then people immediately like perk up and want to learn more. And then generally that creates better prospects, more intent, more buying relationships, etc. So if you watch our group calls that we had just about a month ago now, we were talking about like, yeah, designing your mechanism, how you describe it, etc. Right.
Mhm.
So I think really, really good mechanisms and people who genuinely love what they do are going to win. That's in general what I'm seeing work. The different contexts with which you explain your mechanism don't matter so much, whether it's Instagram content on your page, YouTube content, or it's in a VSL video like ours, or it's in a PDF free download. A good mechanism that really rocks, is explained well, makes sense, feels unique, different, new, easier, better than alternatives, and you love what you do, you're going to win. That's kind of how I'm seeing things right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty broad sweeping, right? Whether you're Instagram, you whatever it is you do. In all of those contexts, essentially all you're doing is getting people to pay attention, explaining a mechanism, right? Selling them on it, then selling on you, and then selling them on your program and its structure. Fundamentally, all marketing processes, that's all you're doing. Getting attention, justifying and explaining a new mechanism that gets them interested, telling them who you are, how you work and everything, your background, and then your program and how it works and its structure and everything. You know what I mean? So if you could just think about that framework, you could pretty much make any marketing work. Yeah. So cool. Anybody have any questions on that? And I just went like super up in the clouds. But does that make sense to everybody? Cool.
Does make sense.
Cool. Sweet. Let's move on. We've got Reese's topic of leadership in general, basically. More about leadership, right? Tell me about your thought process right now with leadership and how you're thinking about it and everything.
I think culture is a big thing I've been thinking about, and creating a culture where people are actually happy to be there and be, I don't know whether under my leadership is the right term, because like you said earlier, there has to be a power dynamic, but not in with the typical connotations that come with that. Like there has to be respect there, but at the same time, there is absolutely a hierarchy, or it just won't work. But there has to be a culture which will enable them to be happy within that hierarchy. Now, I'm just interested in learning a lot more about that and how to approach it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. I mean,
yeah.
so I'll tell you what, structurally, like there's a few like technical things that build good culture. And then there's also just like postures as the owner that create good culture. So I'll kind of go into both. So good culture, I think, is like two things. It's your posture as the owner and how you kind of see your company and your team and everything. And then it's also like some technical stuff. So technically, there's a few things you want to establish. Have a great mission for your company and write it out and remind your team of it often, right? What's your mission? What are you here to do? Why does it matter beyond making money, right? And interestingly enough, I also think January has been a bit of a weird month for KCCA because actually thinking about it, I haven't really been speaking the vision again or the mission. I've just been so technical with the marketing stuff. I haven't really been like, hey guys, here's the mission. Here's what we're here to do. Here's why we exist, Honestly, I just think I've just been busy with my other business. So that's that. Make sure that everybody's aligned with a core mission. So like, I'll just give you an example with KCCA. Having a mission statement, a lot of people are turned off by mission statements because they feel very corporate-y. But if you actually live it out, it's so powerful, right? So powerful because it just aligns everybody. So let me show you this. Here we go. Okay. Let me find the right one here. That's the right one. Here we go. This is the right one. All right. So, company mission: empower Christian men with a timeless skill in a growing industry to create escape velocity, enough income and earning potential to look beyond their current circumstances, build for a better future, for the future of their families or current ones, and unlock the margin to give and further opportunities for them beyond this vehicle. So it's like when we're on team meetings. So have you had the chance to watch one of my team meetings with my team Reese?
Yes, I have.
So you'll notice how we start here and just kind of get everybody involved. You know what I mean? So what you want to do is just write a mission that lights you up, Reese. You know what I mean? And what lights you up? You know what I mean? And you gotta like it. It can't just be fodder. You gotta like it. If you like it, the team will tell that you like it, and it's really easy to live by. Right? Like company mission. Like we believe videographers deserve to be rich, and we want to make them rich by helping them master client acquisition, delivery, and changing the way they view their service. We're on a mission to help every videographer make at least 100 grand a year minimum baseline, or something like that. Whatever. And so you want to remember that, because culture is always downstream from the owner, and if you believe this, they'll believe it. So you kind of have to sell yourself on your mission, just like how you sold yourself on your product before you started selling others. Sell yourself on the mission, and then your team will follow suit. Right?
Got it. Yeah, I'm feeling good about that actually. Like, I know what my mission statement is without actually defining it as that. Like, so just to give you an idea, what I say to a lot of the guys in the community is, when you're creating value in other people's businesses, you're on a human level, you're actually creating more opportunities for that business and the people within that business, just from actually understanding the brand and understanding what their goals are, helping them with a content strategy to get them there. So I think, like, overall as a mission statement, is helping. How I define that in words would be the next step, but I'm pretty confident I'd be able to do that. But at the same time, that would probably be what it is, and I've sort of come up with that mission statement without realizing it's a mission statement.
Good,
like
dude.
helping, it's more a human thing really, and I do lead with that a lot in the calls, so I think maybe that's where it's at. Yeah.
Then, dude, pull from that. You know, it's important that the mission statement isn't like a new thing. Pull from what you've already been doing that already makes it work. Just put it in words, right? You don't have to think about it too much. Just, what is my mission? Write it down. It already exists. It just hasn't been articulated yet. And then values. Since you're a one-man show still, you can write your own values and just put them here. And I have a lot. I really need to freaking simplify this. But so mission is where we're going. Values is how we're going to interact on the way there with each other and with our clients. Does that make sense? So mission is direction. So if you see your team as units with velocity within your organization, you want to make sure that our velocity is aligned. We're all in the same velocity. We're all individual units with the same, sorry, not velocity, like vector, like direction, right? So if we have the right values and a mission that inspires us and the values of how we're going to get there, then what you do, dude, is, I mean, you got to write down your own values, man. Like, for you, something that comes to mind just knowing you is just like obsessed or nothing. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, dude. Like all in, you know, like stuff like just things that would inspire your team. So for me, it's like student obsessed, no stone unturned, standards over goal. You can copy mine if you like them. Sales is leadership, success, love, speed, how we do anything, how we do everything, humility, glory to God. Like for me, these are things that personally inspire me. And so I just write them down. And what I do is I make habit of congratulating my team and shouting them out when they abide by a certain value. And over time, your team just starts to, it just becomes like canon. And you start to notice that they're going to reward each other for those values. And that's when you start to build culture. Culture is when, how I would define it, is when your team can self-recognize that they're executing, abiding by values, making money, and pursuing the mission without you recognizing it. That's when you've established like culture, right? And so you get there by, as the owner, being so repetitive about the mission and the values that it's ridiculous, right? Pound it, pound it, pound it, pound it, pound it until it becomes repetitive. And that's how you build. That's how you build culture, really. That's the technical side, right? Does that make sense? Like that's the strategy of culture. Is that on your team meetings, do like a team wide every week or twice a month or whatever you want to do, and start them with mission. Continue on to do values and have teams shout each other out for values, and then the more personal side is it takes a lot of self-awareness and just honestly believing in things you're saying and being excited about this business outside of it just making money. And it doesn't have to be a super airy-fairy thing. Money is by far the most important thing in every business. It is the top. It has to make a ton of money. Outside of it making a ton of money, what excites you? And you have to actually be excited about that stuff, and they have to kind of sense that, right? If you're not excited about it, you need to ask why or change models. And then I'll say this as well. All of that is downstream from the business actually making money. Your team will just, like, if they're not making money, if they're not getting paid well, and there's not opportunity for them, you can shout your mission and values from the rooftop, and you're just going to be like Michael Scott from The Office. You know what I mean? They're going to be like, shut up, dude. You know what I mean? If they're making money, though, they're going to be like, hell yeah. You know what I mean? So your first priority is to make sure that they actually have opportunity. And I've been Michael Scott from The Office, by the way. I've been like, come on, guys, let's go. And there's like nothing there. You know, that's no fun. You just in the back of your head, you can just kind of tell everybody's like, you're just kind of mad and not liking it. So does that make sense, dude?
Yeah, it does. And I feel like I've built all these things already.
Yeah.
And there's outside of it making money, it's like one of my, it's become almost my purpose in life. Like, and
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
Totally.
and yeah, so all those things are there, and I think all everyone inside the community can see how passionate I am because I spend, most of the hours God gives me just thinking
Yeah.
about this, all adding new modules in or refining this and that. I have done for nearly 2 years, and so it's all there. I just, like you say, it needs to be articulated, and then I like to say what I like what you said about reminding them of the values so much that they eventually self-recognize what tasks are aligning with the mission
Yep.
and just getting to that point. Now, quick question, because we haven't made much money recently, what would you, the guys are still like, I did put in the channel earlier with the setters, and so I got a setter manager and a setter, and they're a brilliant team, but I just haven't closed any sales calls. I try to motivate them and just remind them of the great month we had last month and where we're going with this, and like things are under construction, but at the same time, like you said, they haven't actually made any commission this week. So I'm like, I reminded them of where we're taking this. We're going to be at this stage per month, in a few months sort of thing. But at the same time, like I said, they haven't made much money the past couple of weeks. So what would you recommend I sort of say to them? I was actually thinking
what I've learned to do with teams and like expectations is just saying, here's where we're at. So, as a matter of fact, this is where we're at. Like, it's not the best, but like if you as the owner ignore that things are bad, that's actually really bad for your team. You have to own that it's not the best and like kind of come together that it's not the best and say, here's what we're going to try. And I don't know that it's going to work, but I'm pretty sure it will. And if you're just like, if you don't make a comment of it, they're like, does he see that it's bad? That's not good. You know what I mean? That's no fun. And I've been that guy where I can't face the reality of things like suck, And so that's where I've lost a lot of team is like we have like a really bad 3 weeks and then I just don't say anything about it and I just keep chugging and it's like, no, I gotta be like, yeah, that sucked. And it'd be amazing like how much air people can breathe immediately when you're just like, yeah, this is terrible. This is not good, And it's like, here's what I'm gonna try. Here's what I'm gonna do about it. I'm gonna try this, and just try things here and there. And don't put too much pressure on yourself to keep people happy, honestly. They do still work for you. You know what I mean? When you're not happy, they're not happy. You're unhappy together. It's not your job to keep them happy. It is your job to keep them from leaving, though. And if they leave, that's usually because there wasn't enough opportunity, there wasn't enough money. So I would just say, yeah, it's been a weird couple weeks. I will ask you though, like, how many are you taking the same amount of sales calls as you were earlier, and you just haven't closed any, or are you able to diagnose why there hasn't been as much revenue?
Uh, yeah, I think I just haven't been as dialed in. I've been in for a little bit of burnout, and I haven't been as dialed into the calls. It's my
Mhm.
fault. And I've had some, I've had some, um, I've had some sales consultancy on my scripts. I've gone over that and I've made it better. Like what prompted me to do that was because I needed to give the closer a script, so I've actually improved it.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, my fault entirely.
Yeah.
I think some of them were really well qualified, got really close with some of them, but just some objection handling wasn't good enough. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but then how would you say what I'm cautious of is the tonality in which I bring these points up without looking in any way weak and without looking like
hmm
the leader. You know what I mean?
hmm Yeah. I first of all, I think you can get into like this negative spiral with sales where you haven't had a couple sales and you start gripping the wheel really tight and you're thinking about your process too much. The best place to stay is just abundance and detachment, as especially when you're doing sales as the owner. It's like so I wouldn't necessarily like we can consult on your sales calls, but I think the best thing you can do is just go back and listen to a bunch of your wins and just compare energies and compare states. And if right now you don't feel good about how your sales calls are going, I wouldn't like look at the script. I would just listen to a bunch of wins
Mhm.
because that just kind of
Yeah,
puts your brain back in the state that you were in. Like our states and moods and perspectives change like week to freaking week. It's crazy. Like humans are we fluctuate so much. So if you can just have things that anchor you back into just the particular little things that you thought about, the way you thought about them, and the way you articulated them, and the those things, like that's the best way to get back into a good sales groove. And so, and that right there, test it on yourself. Take a day off from sales and listen to a bunch of calls that you've closed in the past and then see how that affects your calls going forward. And what's cool is you could just train your closer on that. Like, hey, dude, I can tell it's been a bit of a rep, man. Let me give you some advice. When I was selling it, what I did, I'd take a day off, listen to a bunch of wins, go to a coffee shop, sip some coffee, listen to a bunch of wins, write down like what I did right and where my head was at when I did that right, and then I got back on calls. Just kind of recentered
yeah,
myself. You know what I mean?
mm,
And I tell Mike, my main closer for KCCA, which again is why I'm back on their closing. He had a weird second week, and it just threw him off for the rest of the month. What I should have done, and by no means am I perfect, right? But what I should have done is be like, hey, dude, I can tell you're off. Like, how about I take some for a couple days? You listen to some of your wins from the first week. I got your back. You know. But instead, it just became this negative spiral where he just couldn't figure it out. Like he just got burnt out, and then because he wasn't performing, and he's the only closer. And the setter team got frustrated, and they got them mad. And like it was just this whole, just went up in flames. We were pacing like 120, and just it's all stupid in their heads so much. But yeah, Garrett, you dropped a thing, "Confident Mind" by Nate Zinzer. Never heard of that actually.
This is an amazing book. Just literally, he explains exactly what you just explained, where you need to put deposits in your mental bank account about like things that you do really well. So that's at the top of your mind. It's just like a whole book about state pumping. So really changed the way that I was, thinking about anything that you're doing.
I
Um,
really like that. I'm gonna pick that up.
yeah, yeah, it's great. And he gives a lot of like real life examples from like war stories, Olympic athletes, and just like anything you could think of. A bunch of different examples, and it's very powerful for sure. I've listened to it like twice in the last 2 months.
Would you credit it to some of your breakthrough months recently?
Definitely. And
Cool.
the craziest part is one of my clients recommended it to me. I was harping on something on a call about like, yeah, you just need to like think about like it was something in my process I was explaining is just like keeping your mindset in like you want positive momentum in whatever you're doing. And he's like a therapist, and he was like, "Yeah, there's a book called Confident Mind on this, and I've been recommending it to a bunch of people recently, and they love it because it puts your head in the right space."
That's killer. I'll have to read that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, this game it's so much up here. You know, it's actually probably all in your head. You know, and it's like there's any resources on getting that thing dialed, I take. Because I probably have more of a growth journey than honestly a lot of you guys. Like I literally, guys, I mean, I was such a freaking, yeah, when I was like 15, 16, all I did was play Minecraft and, you know, wish I could get girls that I couldn't get and felt sorry for myself. Like that's like half of my life up until now, that was my life. You know what I mean? This is all rewired. That's had to happen. So I've had a lot of disadvantages in that way. And I think the trick to those breakthroughs is resources like what Gary just said, like Confident Mind, things like psychocybernetics. And I think just being aware of like what I'm telling myself, you know, and even this month, you know, I had moments where I was like, man, is KCCA gonna bust? It's like, no, it's not gonna bust. I just need to get in there and just do some calls, you know. So that never goes away. So you gotta have resources like that because I really think that like the sooner you can accept that your human state tends towards the negative, it's like gravity. The sooner you kind of build architecture into your life to help prevent some of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like books, resources. Um, one of the things that helps me a lot is just reminders of like my wins, like, and then identifying more with them than I identify with my failures. Like these are my wins. This is me. You know. So I love that. I'll have to check that out for sure. Um, well, cool. Yeah, Reese, that's kind of like stuff on like leadership, right? And then the other thing with like leadership, a good frame that nobody really told me this, but it really helped me get past the fear of hiring is like look at what you've done for your clients and think in first principles, again, first principles thinking, what they've achieved because you had an environment, good processes, and good training, right? Same stuff you're gonna give your team. Environment, good processes, good training, right? So opportunity. If they have opportunity, good environment, good processes, good training, caring leadership, your client's going to succeed, right? It's the same thing with your team. It's not really a different headspace. If you kind of treat your team like clients, but you know, not so much that it's not customers always right kind of thing. It's more like, you know, you're just giving them that energy. It's like it's gonna work out as long as there's opportunity. And again, the number one thing is opportunity. Like if people aren't making money, all this is out the door. Like every bit of what I'm saying is out the door. If it's not opportunity, they're not making money, right? Because then you're Michael Scott. But if they're making money and there's opportunity, then this stuff just cements it. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Made a lot of notes there. That's really interesting.
Cool. Sweet. Well, yeah, I'm gonna take a quick break, you guys. Just gonna hit the bathroom, and then we're gonna go into Garrett. You're setting ads up. Technically, that was like one of your topics. If you guys think of another topic, we have plenty of time too. So, be back.
You guys all using DMs or VSL or both?
I'm doing this VSO and the DMs.
Oh, both. Okay.
Yeah.
Any preference to which one you like, or
Compared to VSL compared with DM ads?
yeah?
Well, I'm using the VSL. I like them both. I like the DM ads over the opt-in page to VSL. If that's what you're asking. It's
Yeah.
been working better for me at least. So the opt-in page, it just I wasn't. Yeah, the cost was kind of high per call, and DM ads are just working a lot better for us. So I definitely prefer the DM ads, and then the VSL link kind of it's they're much more likely to watch it, and they already watch it. with some kind of relationship already built with me, and so they're much more likely to book. So yeah, it's been I like the DMs personally. That's what's working for me now.
Oh, okay. Okay. You started with DMs first, and then you tried the VSL, or was it the other way around?
Last year, I did follower ads. I did ads where they would follow me, and then I would message them, my followers. That did okay. Average 20K per month last year. This year I did or like December, tried to do the VSL funnel. Didn't get that to work. I think it can definitely work. It just needs more testing. But the DM ads was working faster, and so yeah, now I'm doing ads directly to messaging conversation, and that's what's working for me now. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it seems with the DMs. I mean, I'm only doing DMs right now, but it seems I'm gonna hit a ceiling pretty soon because you need the setter to respond to all the message, and there's only so many messages you can respond to in a day. But I think a VSL eventually is good. You can scale unlimited, I would think.
Yeah. How many messaging conversations are you getting per day with the DMs?
Enough to keep my set, to book all day, like double book all day, like maybe 14 appointments a day.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know much, $30, like $30, and I get like 14 booking a day.
$30 a day for 14 bookings, or $30 per booking?
$30 a day, 30 for 14 booking. So what? I think
that's crazy. Yeah, that's amazing.
It's it's an offer that's people interested in, but it's for musicians. But at the same time, I get lots of people who don't have money, so there's lots of volume. But you have to be very strict about who you go on a call with. So there's lots of qualification going on.
What's your cost per messaging convo?
Let me check my tracking sheet. This month, since I got a setter, it's right now it's $12 per DM.
So you got a really high $12 per DM and $30 a day for 12 bookings. I think the math doesn't add up for me. Because if you book every combo, that's 3 combos per 30 days. 3 combos for $30 a day, and you're booking 14 a day.
Let me share my screen a little bit. So if we look at that, so roughly I'm spending $50 now. I'm like $33. So $33.06. I think I was experimenting before. The cost was a little bit high. But yeah, sometimes the cost is like $5 for DM set. Yeah, I'm not sure actually why the number is higher. Maybe there's something wrong. You're right, something doesn't add up. But if you look at the individual dates, the cost per DM is like $7, $9, $8, $10, $17, $14. Yeah, I would imagine this is correct. I don't know. B34.
Well, if you get that many bookings, it would be less than $10 per booking, like $3 per booking or something.
Oh, you know what? So we're doing double booking, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, here's the thing when I'm not taking this. So we're booking like 12, 14 calls, but I can only take 7 or 6. So that's factors in.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what's cutting it actually in half. But theoretically, if I get another closer, that number will be cut in half. Because I can't take every call right now. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't take that into consideration where we're actually like getting 7, double booking, but I'm not considering the double booking. I'm just putting in what I'm able to take.
Oh, you're getting because you said the I thought you said the combos were like $7 per combo. So I misunderstood. Well, it looks like your per combo it's $1.50. Oh, okay, that's really cheap.
Oh, per combo.
Were you saying maybe the? Oh, I see. Okay, I thought you said $7 per combo. That's why Okay, yeah, you got really cheap bookings. It's really good. Yeah, that's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it looks like a high conversion rate too from DM to booking. So it's all like solid metrics.
Correct.
Alex, are you in the dentist waiting room right now?
Yep.
Nice. Chilling on a mastermind call. Love dude.
This is I tried to book the dentist for another time, but it's kind of urgent. This is the earliest one I had, but yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, we can go into a bit of like technical setup with Garrett, and then I mean, I'll just show you. Well, honestly, let me just do this. I sent this video to Trevor in our group, and I'm just gonna forward it into the general chat here. And you can watch that, Garrett, and it goes into detail because it's one of those things where we could get like we could go for so long, but watch it and then Slack me, and then I just want to make sure that you feel like you know how to do it, right? But do note that like if you're gonna spend less than $50 a day, you can still just click boost, and that will also work. And I know that Reese is still just using boost. So the ad itself by far matters more than anything else. So yeah, but I dropped that video, and it just shows you how we're doing DMATs for KCCA.
In Slack.
Yeah, in the Kaizen General chat.
Got it.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Garrett, I just think it's like if you look at Reese's ad, it's just like, and I think you've already talked to him about it. It's like, hey, if you're a videographer, stop trying to do this instead. You know, that kind of thing. Adding value, like it's like if you're trying to put on muscle, or if you're trying to look good for the girls, or whatever you want to say, dude. You know, whatever aligns with your brand, right? Stop trying to. You be like, don't cut your life in half with injections.
One thing I've been saying recently is hard work doesn't build a solid physique.
Yeah, dude. Willpower and grit does not build a solid physique or something like that. Stop relying on willpower and grit to get a solid physique. Instead, use rhythm design or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
I mean, and just add value on what rhythm design is. Add value. You know, not just explain, but be like, rhythm design helped me go from here to here. And if you wanted to use it, all you got to do is blank, 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 blank. It's so much easier than every other method. For some reason, nobody talks about it. You know what I mean? And then I would honestly, this is kind of a new framework for me to like teach. I would test a version without any call to action. And then you outbound message followers and stuff, and you just use it to just grow the page, right?
Mhm.
And then I would also test, you know, one with a call to action too. But I do think that without a call to action, it then just goes into the vibe of your profile anyway, because it's just like it's valuable. It's, you know what I mean? It's like an ad that doesn't feel like an ad. And if you run it as an engagement ad, just an awareness, just get people to your page, that might just jive better with what you're doing on the page anyway.
Is there like a cap on how many new followers that I can reach out to? Because I'm already getting like 1 to 200 followers a day.
It's ridiculous, dude. Honestly, if you're getting 1 to 200 followers a day, you really need to design your VSL for sure. And then you need to, we really should get a setter in there to then get to talking to people, understand their situation, understand their goals, and then diagnose them with your VSL. Does that make sense? Or you know, hey, you should watch this. This will help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would kill it, dude. And if we could just design your VSL, like, and I know you've watched those group calls where we went into that stuff. you know. So if your mechanism is rhythm hacking, then the Venn diagram could be like so many fitness coaches saying so much bullshit or whatever, and it's like, you can make the Venn diagram something about the fitness industry or about like the health industry. And it's like this is making a super unique window of like a strategy that I've used, or maybe like this led me to, maybe it's not an opportunity, this led me to realizing, rhythm hacking, right? What rhythm hacking is, who it's for, how it works, why it's better, explain it, justify it, and then be like, look, if you want to explore using rhythm hacking to create sustainable muscle growth, better health, better energy, so that you can, have better dates if that's something you want, or just feel better about your body, or have more energy for your family or for your work, or whatever it is, tie it to more of an outcome than just muscle gain, go and book a call. You know what I mean? So, and you can literally see, if you go to the link in my bio at Trey Cockrum, right now, the same framework I teach you guys, I'm running it as a framework for now my main coaches business. It's just, if you're this, I've got a better method for reaching this outcome than everything else. Here's why it's better. Here's why everything else doesn't quite work as well. Here's what it is, how it works. Justify it. Use some examples. Reference things that are bigger than everybody that everybody can agree on. Pull them into the picture to make the case, right? And then transition and call to action by just saying, you can probably figure this out on your own with enough time. But if you just want to speed it up and get results quick, that's where working with me can come in. Don't expect you to make a decision on that first call. Book a call anyway. I'd love to get to know your situation, see if it's fit, we'll get started then or sometime soon, right? So, and if you have that, then your setter can just be, and this is what Reese's setter is doing, what Alex's setter is doing. I don't know if that's what Alan's doing. I have to confirm maybe if it's what he's doing. But instead of it set right to your calendar, and you can check out the Miro that I linked in the Zoom chat up a bit. It's get to know, ask some questions, understand, hear the pains, hear their goals, challenges, etc. And maybe earlier on, since you have so many prospects, dude, maybe earlier on you do a little bit of qualification, like, what do you do for work? You know what I mean? What's your schedule look like? What's your work? And it's like, you're not going to waste time with, oh, unemployed. Okay, not going to waste your time. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I work in software. Oh yeah, let's go. Like, take it, or like that kind of thing. And then your setter's working with those leads. And then it sounded like you used Go High Level when you were working for
Greg Gallagher, like
yeah.
Yeah.
So just set it up how you had to set up. I don't know anything about Go High Level, but just do that. And then
Okay.
Do you need a setter?
Well, I've had one that's been helping me periodically, but he just got a job. So I have another kid who's like, at the time I was looking for one, said that he wanted the help, but I had somebody else already. But I just sent him a message and he said he'd be open to talk on Sunday about like legit.
Cool. Yeah, dude. I mean, just break down the math for him and be like, look, I mean, it's not proven, but when I'm in there, I've been able to book X amount of calls and whatever. And so what I would do is, before you bring him in, prove the VSL thing yourself, get a good VSL going, and then that's just gonna make his job so freaking easy, dude. He's so easy. Has to do, basically just has to like, hey, so you followed the page. Mind telling me about your journey, maybe what you do for work or anything about you, kind of thing. Whatever. Anything that basically qualifies them, take from there. You know what I mean? And then you can just follow our Miro process that I linked. Link your VSL. And what happens is the DM conversation becomes like guide rails for them to consume the VSL almost. They have questions, things they want to know, and your set is just going to have to understand the lingo and the basics of what rhythm hacking is, or whatever we're going to call it, and then it can create the set. Where some people would just book right off the video right then and there.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have I can't remember if it's in the doc, but is there like a framework for like time for how short the reel should be?
Like the ad.
Which one? Yeah, that.
I wouldn't say there's amount of time. I would say the most important, like, just make sure that there's a good hook to it and there's like real value in it. You know what I mean? Like, treat it like a piece of content. Like, if you're making a piece of content about what rhythm hacking is, and you just had to think about, how would I make this thing go freaking viral? You know what I mean? You understand organic content, so that would play over pretty well.
Yeah. The other day I made a long reel that was like 3 minutes long, and the hook was the best way to get fit in 2025 is by moving less and eating more. So I think something along the lines of like the framework that I used for that video. I got a whiteboard like a couple weeks ago, so that was like the first video that I did with that. I'm gonna
Nice.
do more YouTube videos with the whiteboard.
Nice,
But
man.
um,
Yeah, you could totally whiteboard it for sure. Like whatever format you feel is most comfortable for you to just like explain rhythm hacking. Like you don't have to sell them on your coaching program.
yeah.
You have to get them sold on rhythm hacking or whatever the frick we're gonna call it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like get them sold on that, and the natural next step is to want to get your help because they believe in it so much. So that's the mindset behind writing a good VSL. It's getting them to believe in your mechanism. Because if they believe in it and nobody else is talking about it, the next step is to get your help.
Cool.
Yeah. So like, you know, I'm kind of pushing this, like I'm calling it hybrid VSLs, which honestly I could come up with a better mechanism, but I just wanted to just do it. And like if you go to my profile, you kind of see how I do it. And you can also check the KCCA VSL, but like you can check it out right there. Helping countless coaches reach six-figure months. People like Bastian Slott, Gurkan Orderi, Frederick Pahus, Justin Saunders, and tons of others have finally cracked the code on the perfect system for established online coaches to reach $100,000 to $500,000 a month. This is my style, this is my format. Don't think about the format. Don't think about my video being here and it being blue and the text being white. That stuff's completely irrelevant. It's the meat of your mechanism.
Mhm.
So I'm just hooking them a little bit. So it's basically the format is just like hook to keep them around at the very start. And in my industry, how much money somebody makes is like everything. It's like money, 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 money. You know what I mean? And then it's like justify the mechanism, explain what it is, how it works, why it's better, and then get them to book a call. So
Should I leave out testimonials? I wasn't thinking about putting them in there, but
totally put them in there.
okay.
You know what I mean? Totally put them in there. Yeah, I would put them in there after you explain the mechanism. The reason I put it before is because my industry is so authority driven that it's like people aren't even going to listen unless you lead with that.
Okay.
But like in your industry, it kind of feels like every third fitness coach gets decent results. You know what I mean? Like not to say anything about the industry, but like a lot of the knowledge is generally known. That's why we're creating a new mechanism. So then if you're like, stick around for this reason, I'll show you mechanism, explain the mechanism, why it's better, lead with mechanism, then your story, then your clients. Justify the mechanism first and then end with call to action.
Okay.
Because it's like results for fitness students is not enough to get fitness clients paying $3,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you know that better than anybody. It's a unique, better, faster, easier, more lifestyle friendly way that doesn't have the things that they don't want, like willpower, etc. That's what's going to get them willing to pay those rates, and even pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's cool.
I think that's another key is that every fitness coach wants to tell you to do things that you hate doing and can't sustain.
Yeah.
And then I like your I don't know if you recommend just peppering in that those couple of lines that you have like when booking the call, like, hey, not expecting you to make a decision, but expecting you to at least, debrief me on your situation and
Yeah, basically. I'm not expecting to make a decision. I do expect you to be an open book though. Yeah.
okay.
Because honestly, if they're an open book and they have the money, they're gonna buy. You know what I mean? It's like why wouldn't they? So
I like that. I liked your other line, like in CB, like once I started saying hate to be forward like this, like
yeah.
I started booking a lot of calls with that. That was cool.
Yeah. Hate to be forward, but honestly, you're exactly who I can help.
Yes.
Yeah, killed it. Yeah, dude. So if your set is just like instead of understand, diagnose, pain, goal, gap, book, it's pain, goal, gap, understanding of the mechanism, soul on it, book, way better calls.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, holy cow. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Sweet.
I'm gonna rip that today.
Do it, dude.
I can get it up today.
Yeah, don't think about it too hard. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like a couple mindsets that help is just think about you're making a case to a jury about rhythm hacking.
Mhm.
Why it's better than everything else. You know what I mean? Faster, easier, doesn't have the drag that other things have, new, better, whatever. You know, how you've used it, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then like maybe even like the science behind it, you know what I mean? That'd be sick, you know.
I think that's why, like, my sales calls, I literally do this exact thing. I sell it every time, but it's like my anecdotal experience plus like why it's working with. I do talk about like science and the hormones and
Yes.
like,
Dude, talk about the science and the hormones and stuff, bro.
yeah.
People go, oh, science, hormones, got it. Yeah, science, you know. Yeah, dude. Like in my VS right here, like it hasn't booked, it's booked me one call since I put it up last night. So it's not like super proven, but like what I do is I say like pretty much every business that's at $1 million a month or more in our industry, they use traditional VSLs. $1 million months, they use traditional VSL funnels. Right? Like that's a traditional VSL. Hybrid VSL have a conversation with somebody and tell them, hey, this VSL is for you.
Mm.
Right? Because VSLs freaking work, but people hate when they're in somebody's funnel.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the difference. That's why I'm kind of so bullish on this like strategy. It's because it's like humanizing a VSL process. Right? This VSL's crushed, dude. And traditional VSLs only really work right now in like a few really narrow niches. Like they work really, really well on like career stuff. Like there's a guy that I know who's like killing it with like ads right to a VSL to help people get tech jobs. Like that feels super legit. Yeah, I mean, and it hardly feels like a VSL. It's like if you want to get a job in tech, we've got a bunch of relationships with a bunch of companies. You can go through our program, we'll train you, we'll place you. Like that's like super legit. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that, it kills. And then so yeah. Or you got to be like a top 0.01% marketer to make it work. And even then, it might not still work because then it's your. So that's kind of the case that I make. It's like VSL crush. So giving it guide rails with conversations means you can go as far as you want. Yeah. Well, cool, guys. Unless there's anything else, I think we'll wrap a little early. What do you guys think? So Alex got to get his teeth fixed. Garrett, you got your VSL to film. And I don't know what you're up to, dude, but cool. Well, I'll wrap